Is there Oscar theme music? Like, is there an Oscar theme song?
No, they just play they just play like movie scores and shit. But my favorite one of my favorite things to listen to is Hollywood Dreams. There was a concert that the Hollywood Bowl did that the ever famous John Mauceri.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yes, of course, John Mauceri.
Yes, of course, John Mauceri. But John Mauceri was the chancellor of the chancellor?
Chancellor.
And he was a pretty famous conductor.
Yep. Leonard Bernstein's protege.
Right. And he was the lead conductor of the Hollywood Bowl. And there's this
for a
album
long time
called Hollywood Dreams, which I love, but because it feels so 90s. The cover art too. It's just like honestly, I want the cover art as like a poster. Everybody look it up. I'll put it up on the screen right now. Hollywood Dreams. So
Hold on.
Dropped his camera. Oh my God.
Are we back?
Yeah, you're good. That was so gay. Well, Joshua's miserable because he's got such a horrific setup. Show everybody your setup here.
Let's not even talk about this. Is a fucking joke. Yeah, welcome to our podcast where we're like I'm recording like on a popsicle stick. It's when Mike and I first started
recording on a popsicle stick.
When Mike and I first started preparing for the podcast back in 1996. No, we've been working on this podcast for a bit, and we actually recorded a few episodes. Maybe we'll release those one day. Maybe those will be like fun, like random bonus episodes to release.
I see Donna Katzen all the time, and she's like, "Hey, have you released that yet?"
Oh yeah, this person that we interviewed.
Yeah.
No, so first of all, anyways, we bought like matching like podcaster setup kits. We went to like Wirecutter or who the fuck knows. We got these podcast setup kits, and I have like this, like for those of you who are watching, I've got this like microphone, but the arm of it, the thing is like complete trash. It's like a joke, and so. But I have to use it because it connects to the computer directly. And so I had to like kind of pull out the wire to give me enough leeway so that I can even hold it. I hate holding it. You're not holding it today. You always always have to hold it.
No, I'm liking this better. I'm trying this out today.
Well, yeah, because this is annoying. This is annoying to do this.
It's fun. I know. It makes you feel a little more like, I don't know. Anyway, welcome to Creative. Well, subscribe to our Patreon so Joshua can get a new microphone. That's really
well. Let's manage the sequencing of the information delivery one by one. So first of all, yes, welcome to Creative Risk, folks, with Joshua Morgan and Labbadia, where we talk about art, entrepreneurialism, and everything in between. So now we did that, fabulous. But yes, he just sort of said it. See now I feel like I'm using a different pronoun. We started a Patreon. Because we're obviously having a blast with the podcast, and we're going to be doing it a lot more. We're going to be recording a bunch more episodes, including a bunch of bonus stuff. So if you go to our Patreon, you'll see discounts for merch. Yes, we've got merch. Woo! Mike designed it. It's actually really good. I really love it. It's let me just describe it because I think it's really good.
Go ahead.
It's our one piece of merch.
Very in
right
line
now.
with the Academy Awards and mainstream sort of filmmaking and Hollywood.
Our one piece of merch is a T-shirt with we've got Kelsey Grammer front and center. We've got Kirstie Alley to his left, and we've got Randy Quaid to his right, and it just says "Icons Creative Risk Podcast." It's good. I actually really want the shirt.
Oh, I'm getting it. Alt-right. Listen, if you want to,
don't call it alt-right.
They are alt-right.
I know, but
They're
that's like explaining the joke for me. That's why I don't like calling it alt-right. It's like when you go to like those weird cheap stores online and they're like, love button for the one you love, men, woman, man, chat. It's like, okay, well, I don't want this anymore.
Speaking of love button, I heard something.
Okay.
A new piece of information.
Okay.
Do you know what you call somebody who's non-binary but has a vagina? Do you know what you call the vagina?
I don't.
Wait, no, listen. This is. No.
Okay.
Do you know what you call their vagina? It's so
I
funny.
don't.
It's true, but it's good. A thussy. Like a
I
they
know-
them pussy. A
I know.
thussy? Isn't
I
that
know.
awesome?
I know.
I love that. I love that. A thussy? No, that's not a joke. That's what they.
I
I
know.
loved it.
I know. I'm
I
not
was
taking.
talking to a friend. I was talking to a friend of mine who's non-binary, who has a vagina. They were referring to their thussy, and I like literally died. And like it was incredible. Thussy. I love
It's kind
it
of
so
like
much.
a bussy or a mussy.
It's like a pussy or what's a man pussy. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah. Anyway, wait.
I
How
just
do we
call
get
mine
here?
My stink hole. Anyway, what's up?
My
Let's talk about the
stinko-lussy.
Academy Awards. Yeah.
No, but so we are. So today's episode is going to be our very educated, very non-subjective Oscar predictions for this year. The Oscars, by the time this comes out, will be days away,
But
moments
see, this is where
away.
we kind of fucked up. We should. I'm gonna pull up also like, because if we're really doing this, we should have the SAG, like the SAG and BAFTA and the Golden Globe shit up, because that's if we're like actually making predictions, then we should like
But here's a question:
know who won.
What are the so that you're saying the predictions based on recent awards?
Well,
Is that
are
what
they-
you're saying?
Well, are they predictions or are they like just us talking about like what we liked and who
Well-
we think should win?
Okay, I guess for me,
I think it's a combo.
here's where like Oscar predictions is a ridiculous thing. It's
Where
not like
lies it?
politics where there's polling, right? That goes like, here's data to support why we are predicting Donald J. Trump will destroy the country in 2024. You know, we don't have that information. So all we have is like, oh, the BAFTAs, they really liked Cillian Murphy, you know? And it's
Well,
like, okay,
it's also like who does. I mean, it's all campaign, right? It's all like,
of course.
It's all just like fucking PR crazy campaigning,
Right.
Shit.
Yeah.
So it's like who's out. So it's really, if you're trying to make like earnest predictions, it's really based off of previous winners, who's getting like the most press, like who has the most exciting story, and we'll talk. And I have like a very limited knowledge of some of this, and just who's like playing the best, who's running the best campaign right now. I mean, that's kind of.
No, I mean, I don't think that's wrong, but how do we get that info?
Well, I just have. Well, I know a little bit of it, but I also just pulled up the award. I just pulled up the SAG, BAFTA, and the Golden Globe winners up.
Okay, great. Well,
So
we'll
I
have
those.
we'll have that as a reference as we go
So
through
where
this.
do we start? Where do we start here? Do we start?
Well,
with, supporting
yeah.
actor? Well, I think we're going to talk about probably supporting actor, supporting actress, actor, actress, and film. Right, that's probably going to be the topics we cover.
I think that's right. And I think maybe we could look at director and writer.
Yeah,
And
director,
see.
writer.
And look, we tried. We worked hard. I think we've watched most of these. I will say, because
Yes.
we were talking yesterday about making sure we both watched American Fiction. I wasn't spending $20 on that.
Yeah, I didn't watch American Fiction. Yeah, because it was $20. I had to do it. Either.
No, I wasn't going to do it because it's
I know.
annoying. It's I mean, I got enough of them, and I want to see it, but I wasn't going to spend
The
20
only
bucks
reason
on
why
it.
I was able to watch Poor Things was because I was at Carolina's and she has like this. She knew this bootleg websites. We watched a bootleg. We watched.
Oh, you know what I should have
pirated
done?
Version of it.
I always
It was so-
forget that I have that login shit.
Well,
I didn't even
what
think
for?
about it. Oh, God,
for
I'm
SAG.
such a
For SAG.
I'm such a dummy. I didn't even think about it. All right, whatever. Next time.
Whatever, you failed.
So
Wait,
yes,
you're a SAG vote. Wait, why? Because I'm a member of SAG, but how do you get the login?
the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Last year I did this thing where it's not like I was like so special. They certainly might try to make you feel that way, but where you voted for. Maybe it was the SAG Awards, but I would go to all those events last year. Remember, I would go to all the screenings, and then this year, I was able to register to vote again for something, and when I do, they give you a pin with so that you can watch
I
all the
should do that.
movies.
Well,
And
yeah, I'm sorry, please.
no, so that's one of the reasons why I do it. But also, I have always been someone who likes participating in union shit, except for equity, because I don't know the theater union is just kind of a joke, isn't it?
Yeah, a bunch of fucking losers. Anyway, so but what's interesting? This was the first year, I think, I'll be straight up, where I actually watched. I think like the past 2 years or 3 years, I didn't see any of the Oscar movies, like any of them. And this was like what was even nominated last year? I don't even fucking remember. Like
I don't know. I have such a horrible memory for that kind of stuff. That's not going to stick with me.
Like like viewership is at an all-time low with these fucking things. It's like nobody's watching these things anymore. But
Mike's like the failing New York Times, the failing Hollywood infrastructure.
It's true. I mean, nobody.
But see, it's so funny because I just want to say, like, you're the only person I ever hear really say these things. I'm not saying that you're wrong, by the way.
You live in a bubble of
or you live in a bubble.
But it's true. Look up Academy Award viewership.
Okay, I'm not. Are you talking about the actual award show, or are you talking about the films?
I'm talking about the award show.
Oh yeah, no. That's been in strong decline for a bit, but a lot of these projects have been very popular. I mean, a lot of these movies.
Yeah, a few of them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we should. I think we should go supporting. I think we should go supporting, and then I think we should go lead actors, and then I think we should go director, writer, and then best film.
All right. Well, before we go, what did you out of all you watched? Like, what did you think of the whole kit and caboodle on the whole? Like, quality of the movies this year. That's hot.
It was fine. I'll tell you right now, my favorite was, because to just get it out of the way, which was The Holdovers.
Oh, that was definitely one of my favorites. Yeah,
I said that I didn't like.
It was so fucking good.
Yeah, I said that I didn't like the other projects. They weren't. Now and again. Now listen. I didn't see everything. There's like 2 or 3 that are outliers for me. For example, I didn't see Poor Things, and I heard it was great. So I do feel a little, ill-equipped there. But for me, The Holdovers was my favorite. Otherwise, they were fine. I don't know. What did you think of the whole kit and caboodle?
Well, yeah, there was only. Well, I don't know yet. Oh, maybe by the end I'll form an opinion, as sort of like a hot take on the whole thing. But you want to look at supporting actor first?
Yeah, I think we should look at supporting actor first.
Okay. So we have Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction. We have Robert De Niro in Killers of a Flower Moon. We have Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling in Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things.
Ruffalo or Ruffalo?
Ruffalo, but that's his name. That's his old country name.
It's a Sicilian name.
That's before the colonizers.
Is that a thing? Is that even a thing? Okay.
No.
You should hear Mike. You should hear Mike talking about Italian American discrimination. Everybody else is fair play, but Mike's like, oh, the Italians. They really day to day we fight the good fight.
Yeah. Masonry, building brick walls. I don't know.
Build the wall. Okay.
Build the wall.
So
we're gonna build the wall. Italians are gonna do it. Anyway, so okay. So let me tell you who I think got. Let me tell you who's gonna win is Robert Downey Jr. Unfortunately, because he's been winning.
What?
I think he won. He won the Golden. Did he win the Golden Globe?
Oh, you got the other stuff up there.
Yes, I think he won. Yes, he won the Golden Globe.
What?
I'm pretty sure he was getting from day one. He was getting a lot of,
I'm not saying he wasn't good in Oppenheimer.
I just wasn't. No, it wasn't anything special.
Well, exactly.
He won the Screen Actors Guild. Well, because he's Hollywood fucking royalty, right? And so, and he's like a not legacy, but like, Let me see. Yeah, he won the BAFTA. He won the BAFTA, the Golden Globe, and the Screen Actors Guild. But let me tell you what I think. Who got fucking? And you know, I've been shouting this from the high heavens, and I'll say this: the best acting in that movie was
Brendan
Safdie.
Fraser. Oh, Benny
Brendan-
Safdie was good.
Brendan
Oh no,
Fraser
Brendan
wasn't
Fraser
in-
was Killers
he was in
Killers of
Kill
the Flower Moon.
He was great in that. Benny Safdie.
Yes, Benny
and
Safdie was great.
And Krumholtz and the guy who was Bernard the Elf
Yes!
and the Santa Claus.
Yes, yes.
They were
David
they were-
Krumholtz.
David Krumholtz. They
Yes.
were fucking amazing.
Yes,
They got fucking robbed. Those two. Those were the best performances in that movie. David Krumholtz especially. Like Benny Safdie's performance was incredible and it was transformative, and he was that fucking guy. It was great, but I loved David Krumholtz in that movie. He was like funny, but he was just he had layer. It was just that
we do have to give a shout out to our two UNCSAers, our buddies that were in the movie, Dylan Arnold and Dane
Right.
DeHaan.
Right.
Dylan plays
the brother Robert. Not
yes,
Robert.
Robert
no,
Oppenheimer's
Robert,
brother. Robert's
No,
Oppenheimer.
Robert is the guy's name.
I think his
John
name was Frank. I think that's the character.
Oh, right.
Anyway,
Well, whatever.
Dylan plays Oppenheimer's brother, and
great.
who did Dane play? I couldn't really
Dave played,
track.
he was kind of like that Weasley guy.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Yes,
But,
yes.
but I'll say it right now. Whatever. I know they're not here, but Benny Safdie and fucking David Krumholtz should have gotten nominated.
What do you mean they're not here?
They're
Oh,
not
on the
here
list.
In the
Oh,
list.
I thought you were like
should've
with
been.
us.
They're not with us. They're dead because they weren't nominated. It destroyed their
No,
lives.
I do think I thought Betty Safdie was specifically really
Incredible.
great. I do definitely
he is
agree.
really special. Talk about like
He really
his
is.
directing and
I
you saw
know.
Good. Have you ever seen Good Time?
Yes.
He's
He's
incredible.
great.
Incredible. Anyway,
great.
whatever. He's not here, so we have to deal with these losers. So Robert Downey Jr.
So that's
I
who
mean,
you're
it was
predicting?
fine. That's who I'm predicting. That's not who I want to win. I haven't seen American Fiction, so I can't speak to Sterling K. Brown.
Okay, well I've not seen. Yeah, we should full disclosure. I've not seen American Fiction. I've also not seen Poor Things. How was Mark Ruffalo?
Well, incredible. And I do not like Mark Ruffalo. I actually,
He's great.
I don't like him. I don't know. It's like it's not that he's a bad. It's like there's certain actors who it's like he's obviously a really good actor, but like there's just you just watch it. I don't like that guy.
Yeah, I know what
it's
you're
just
saying.
Like Dustin Hoffman's always been that for me. Like I watch Dustin Hoffman, I'm like, yeah, he's a good actor, but I just don't like watching. I just don't.
Interesting.
Mark Ruffalo,
That's like Samuel L.
was-
Jackson for me.
interesting.
Anyway,
Racist.
Mark Ruffalo
But anyway,
was great.
so Mark Ruffalo was really special in that movie because really, if you're talking about sort of like the comedic performances, you're talking about Ryan Gosling and you're talking about him, right? So Ryan Gosling and Barbie, who I thought was actually really great, but the thing is about that role is that anybody really could have done that role. I mean, it wasn't like super, not anybody, but like the comedy wasn't. Yeah,
Here's where I'll push back on this because I actually, well, okay, I'm gonna say this in a macro sense. In a macro sense, I actually think he's up for it, except not really. Because let me be clear. Let me say first why I think that he's a contender to win the Oscar for this. The reason why I think he's a contender to win the Oscar for this is because I actually do think it was kind of a difficult middle of the road he was trying to find in terms of finding the style of the movie, finding his own sense of humor within it, but also kind of treating it like it's real. He found like a really beautiful balance.
He did exceptional, by the way. I thought he was great.
But in the terms of campaigning, that movie obviously a ton of marketing. But here's where it's gonna get fucked. Because I wouldn't be shocked.
White men.
No, well, no, not that. Except for the fact, do you remember how insane that was when the nominations came out, and people were mad at the irony. Listen, I gotta say this: I have no problem with the irony, and people underlining the irony of Ryan Gosling getting a nomination over Margot Robbie or Greta Gerwig. No problem. Yes. Oh, that's
Right.
ironic. Irony. What I have a problem with is when people are like, I can't believe it. Disaster, horror, shouldn't have happened. What do you mean shouldn't have fucking happened? People are voting.
Well,
Their
he had
talent.
the best part in the movie. I mean,
That's the other thing.
And the directing.
Yes.
That was just.
Yes. But I'm just saying this because I mean, in what sense, in what world do we live in where the awards have to somehow mimic the messaging of the project? I just have to say that. So I don't think that he's going to. I bet you like watch him win. They're like can't give it to him. No, cross it out. Retally. Let's find 11,432 votes in Georgia because this isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work. Oh, look at my giving a thumbs up.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened, but people, I completely agree with you. The problem is not the award ceremony. The problem is that the movie, he had the best part in the movie. He had the most. I was talking to somebody about that. They're not like they were like, well, it was kind of. They were like, well, the problem if you're against that, the problem is that he had the best part. Now, but let me say this about now seriously though, comparing him and Mark Ruffalo because they are both the comedic. Well, I don't know about Sterling K. Brown, but they're both like the funny ones.
Something tells me it's not a comedy, American fiction.
Yeah, something. Well, no, I think it is kind of supposed to be like a dark comedy or anyway. But Mark Ruffalo, it's a very stylized performance, but why I thought Mark Ruffalo was, I can't describe his performance in it because it was very expertly done because the movie is so stylized and big and crazy, and his role was sort of this like blowhard, like Don Juan type, and it was such a crazy role. And you could see how automatically, like, you just like most actors would plug into that part and they would be like super like bombastic and over the top. But he like was legitimately, he was dropped in to the circumstances and he was very over the top, but it wasn't campy, which is like, but it was very subversive. Like there's this part where somebody says something he doesn't like, and he like farts. He's just like, and he's just like farts, and he's like, and he's just. It was. I was actually really. He was really fucking funny in that movie.
I want to watch it. I mean, that one was $20 too.
He was really bringing it in that movie.
Well, you know, my spidey sense then is sort of then going like because for me, wait, sorry, not I cut you off, but just to say, Robert Downey, Robert De Niro, just to say, I mean, Robert De Niro. I'm sorry, Mike, your old country man. What is going on? I feel like every movie I watch Robert De Niro in these days, and then the last like 15 years, it feels like he's trying to get his health insurance. Like I never feel like he's actually engaged. I mean, he kind of had the Southern accent. That was like the extent of his character choice in that film. Am I wrong about this?
I thought he was good in it. I didn't know if it was an Oscar worthy. I thought Leo obviously was doing the best.
It's better than Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I thought Leo was great in that.
Brendan Fraser
De Niro,
was good.
You're right. There is something that's Brendan Fraser was really good. Yeah, there was something. Yeah, he didn't seem as
engaged.
Well, but he did have some nice. I don't know because like even like in that there's that jailhouse scene where they're in the jailhouse.
Yes,
and he's like comforting him. Like he had some good levels and some good layers, and I think that he understood the guy. And I don't know. I agree though that it wasn't like it wasn't an electric performance. I thought it was a really good performance. Just like with Robert Downey Jr., I thought it was a really good performance. I didn't think it was electric. I didn't think it was like a standout performance for me, for either of them. You know, but yeah, for me, I would give it to Mark Ruffalo. That's who I would give it to. I thought Mark Ruffalo genuinely gave it was just it was very subversive performance, and it was layered, and it was yeah. Oh, just lost Joshua. Okay.
Sorry, y'all. I got cut off.
Sorry, he's back. His internet sucks. That's real. So yeah, but so I think that. But look, I wish I could speak to Sterling K. Brown's performance, but
Me too.
I'm not a big Sterling K. Brown fan, to be honest.
I'm not a super fan of Sterling K. Brown either. I mean, good. Again, very good actor. I would just argue out of these, and I think it's probably just again a taste thing, where you and I are probably a bit similar. Both Ryan Gosling and Mark Ruffalo, they both are making like there's a bold, interesting, dynamic performances.
Right.
And I think that's just obviously personally interesting to us. I'm going to put down my money, and maybe we should have a wager. I'll bet you $5,000. No, my money's going to be on actually Mark Ruffalo, and I didn't even see the movie.
Robert Downey Jr. is going to win it, but yeah, it's like I'll be interested to see American Fiction, because Sterling K. Brown's he's just always a little over the top for me. He's
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Like he's always really it's just like, all right, take it easy. You know what I mean?
No, I do hear that. Okay, actress in a supporting role?
Yes, actress. So we have Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks, American Ferrera.
Let's say what they're for. Emily Blunt
for Oppenheimer. Danielle Brooks for Danielle Brooks for Color Purple. American Ferrera for Barbie. Jodie Foster for Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers.
Now, I have to say something, y'all. You have to know that when we were talking about these projects, Mike didn't and we were talking about the categories we would do, including the ones we're basically doing today. When I tell you that Mike didn't even, I never even heard the words "The Color Purple" come out of his mouth. I promise you, Mike had no intention of watching The Color Purple.
Well, because it's one nomination. That's the only nomination it got, right?
I don't know
the categories we're speaking about. If it got nominated for Best Picture, I would have watched it.
Anyway, but
what are you trying to say?
Well, I just don't think listen, I don't love movie musicals. I really don't love movie musicals. I really don't. I cannot fucking stand them.
Fucking slob.
No, so I don't really like movie musicals. That's that. Honestly, I'm actually thinking the ones I'm big dismissive of The Color Purple, because I just for whatever reason.
Did you watch? You saw it, right?
I did watch it.
How was it?
Danielle is not, not my best friend, but Danielle goes back to, remember when I was at the School of the Arts, and Danielle was choosing between Juilliard and the School of the Arts. She came to the school, and she and I don't know how we got synced up. She knew somebody, and next thing I know, Danielle and I are in a studio together at the School of the Arts singing. I'm playing piano, she's singing, and we just really, really hit it off. And then, she was an executive producer on Ain't Too Proud. But I thought, but when she came in the first day of rehearsal, I was like, because it had been years since we connected. I wasn't sure if she was even going to remember who I was. And sure enough, she did. I say all that just because I feel like I'm like a Danielle Brooks fan in general, although I thought this performance was just okay. Nope.
So, but how was the
cut that?
I'm not gonna cut it. But how was the movie?
It wasn't bad, honestly. So I really do not like movie musicals. I really do not like movie musicals. I thought, you want to know what I thought they did? Because here's the thing with movie musicals for me. It's so funny because I like musicals on stage because I like the theatricality. I like the medium. I'm like excited by that. Movie musicals, I'm like, why the fuck are they singing? Like Sweeney Todd, I can't. With Johnny Depp, I just don't understand why they're singing. It feels like such a lie to me.
I like White Christmas a lot.
Those are different. I know.
Well, those are different because they're shot theatrically the whole time.
Exactly.
There's like, even though if you have a big dance number, like you can't be doing you have to be doing two shots. You got to be doing wide masters.
Yes.
You can't be, that's what gives it that feel.
I agree with you.
I
agree with you. It's actually well, just so you know what I kind of like about Barbie. I liked how practical Barbie was. That's kind of fun to me if you're gonna it sort of doesn't feel so out of touch. So I thought Danielle was
Brooks, okay,
fine.
Emily Blunt and Oppenheimer, I was like, okay. I mean, this is
I
kind of
thought
a
she was
weak
really good.
category. She was really good, but it wasn't like I don't know. I just thought it wasn't like did what's her face get Carey Mulligan get nominated too for Maestro?
She did get nominated.
Yeah, it's like those. Well, Carey Mulligan had a little bit more meat. That was just like a little. There wasn't that much meat on that on that role. The
Emily Blunt role? Stop. What are you talking about? She did that.
It seemed a while since I saw it. I don't know.
She played the kitty or whatever her name is, who was the alcoholic, and I personally thought that it was also a departure for Emily Blunt, and I thought she was very good.
No, she's great. I just didn't think it was like.
Sure.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good. I just didn't think it was. Now, what's interesting here too is okay. So American Ferrera's Barbie, where did that come? That is just like not to be whatever. Where did that come from?
I'm right there with you. I did not think this was.
She was really good in the part.
Sure.
For what it was, but like.
Sure. I'm with you. I'm right there.
Very
with you.
Random.
Well, it kind of felt like, and this is not true. So, and that's not to take away from what she did, but it kind of almost felt like a counterbalance to Ryan Gosling in some ways. Like, well, we've got that.
No, that's what I think it probably was. I mean, I don't know why it wasn't.
I know.
It just wasn't a special. It wasn't like a.
Well,
great
can I just say all of these? The reason why because did you see Nyad? You didn't.
I
see
did
Nyad.
not see Nyad. No.
Jodie Foster's fine. Again, it's like a fine. It's a committed performance, and I gotta say, I loved The Holdovers. For me, probably Emily Blunt and Divine Joy Randolph were the most
Divine
interesting.
is going to win it. Divine's been winning everything. She won the BAFTA. She won the Screen Actors Guild. She won the Golden Globe. So she's been in her press. Her like campaigning has been like super strong. She's been doing all the interviews, all the fucking like, and it's her. This is hers.
I could see it. I would not be shocked, especially up against Joe. Like, it's definitely for me the top two out of these five. But I have to say, because I was specifically watching, and I was like, this is interesting. It didn't feel like the most amazing. I also have to say, though, as much as I loved The Holdovers, I did not love the direction a whole ton.
Interesting.
I found I thought the movie was really, really good. And what's the kid's name and Paul Giamatti were great. But I did find the direction and I felt like her direction, like she could have been a little more sharply directed, because I found it to be a little much at times, to be honest with you.
Interesting. I thought that I think that of all of them, this is the one that makes the most sense. I thought, was it like a revelatory? Was it a revelatory performance? No, but I thought it was interesting. I thought she was really that woman. I thought that she had the moments she needed.
Yeah.
I appreciated that she didn't really go into melodrama that much or anything too like. Sure. I liked the whole consistency she had of like the depression. Like I got the apathy sort of thing that was kind of going on. Like I really liked the performance, and I think it was like, I think that this is a kind of a weak category, to be honest with you.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
There wasn't like a there wasn't like a performance. There's not a performance here that like screams out at me as like.
I totally agree. Yeah, no, I think you're probably right that it's going to be her. But for me personally, but I'll tell you, I would not be shocked if America Ferrera was a dark horse here, and came in.
That would be crazy.
I know, but people really.
That would be crazy.
They kept talking about that monologue, although Michael and I always kept talking about like how like that monologue, the one she has, like felt a little pushed, and
I thought it was fine. I thought it was serviceable. I mean, I don't think she had. Now, mind you, I don't think it's her performance. I think that, well, it sounds like you're saying it's her performance. I just don't think the role was incredibly. Part of this is also just the role you're given. Like, Gosling, like in the supporting category, like Gosling and fucking like Mark Ruffalo had dynamic characters to play.
Well,
like
but see,
super
that's the thing.
dynamic,
I
interesting
hear you,
characters.
but Brendan Fraser, man, in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yes.
It's as the lawyer, it's this. I mean, he was so
Electric.
so
good.
extreme. And is he that fat now, or was that a bodysuit? And again,
How dare you? How
what?
dare
This
you?
is
But
a real
apparently he wasn't
question.
fat enough. Apparently that was the problem. Remember? He's not fat enough.
Okay, no, but really, no. The reason why I'm
He
asking
has to be
is
500 pounds.
Is
can't
he
be,
that fat?
Yeah, he's fat. He's fat.
Okay,
He's a fat
no
fuck.
problem. I love it. Beautiful. All I'm saying is like he was like glistening. He was sweating. He was,
He was glistening. Brendan Fat Fuck Fraser. As my girlfriend would say, Papi Gordo.
your
Papi Gordo
girlfriend.
Fraser.
He's
My
dropping.
girlfriend.
Well, that was very
Dropping
fast,
it.
Mike. I think we started talking about her, 2.5 weeks
Oh, we've
ago.
been dating for a second. No,
Okay.
from one Papi Gordo to another. From one fat fuck to another.
Well,
get it, but he's a
but
fat fuck.
and
And
listen.
it
The
was-
reason why I'm saying it is because I hear what you're saying about the role, but that
No, the actor
to your
makes
point
it.
about
Actor
David
makes it.
Krumholtz and Brendan Fraser,
That's true.
they're both examples like where like they're just the kinds of actors where their work becomes electric.
That's
Um,
true. I really liked Divine Joy Randolph's
Yeah,
performance.
I
He's
agree.
gonna win it. I don't think
I
it
agree.
was.
I agree with you.
I don't think it was. It wasn't anything I'm writing home about. But it was really, really good.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Okay, so we're gonna say Divine Joy Randolph for the holdovers. We're gonna say I'm gonna go. Oh, you're gonna go Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. I'm going Mark Ruffalo
Yes.
for Poor Things. Now
Not
let's
gonna-
go actor in a leading role. So we've got
Okay.
Bradley Cooper in Maestro, Coleman
Maestro.
Domingo in Rustin,
Domingo
Paul
Rustin.
Giamatti and Paul Giamatti
go.
in the holdovers. I never know if it's Killian or Cillian, so I'm gonna say Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. So again,
Alright, well,
full
this is
disclosure, we did not
interesting.
watch American Fiction.
Right. So it's interesting because who won? So yeah, Cillian Murphy won the Screen Actors Guild.
Is it Cillian or
Um,
Killian?
I don't. Who the fuck cares?
Oh my god!
He
I'm
also won the
annoying.
BAFTA, but then Paul Giamatti won the Golden Globes. So here's the thing about. Let me start with our old buddy Killian.
Cillian.
Like this was, it's funny. I was talking to. I was talking to Gus, our friend Gus, who was in Rustin, who was excellent, and he had a really good point. He was like,
The beautiful
like,
scene
yeah, it
Gus
was-
had.
a great scene. But we were talking about. He was like, it was funny. And Gus is not this kind of dude, who's gonna be like. He was just like, it wasn't very Jewish, and what he meant by that, like his performance wasn't very Jewish.
Who are we talking about right now?
Cillian Murphy.
Okay.
Murphy. And here's what I think he meant by that. It's not that he cares about Jew being cast, but it's like this was like it was so straight, so whitewashed, so bland, it was a very neutral. I didn't think it was a very engaging performance. I thought he was serviceable, but like it wasn't an interesting. I didn't get like I also don't like-
I'm actually right there with you. It was you used the word best. It was serviceable.
It
was good.
And he
Fine.
casts like it was just like, and look, it takes a lot of restraint. I'm not saying that it takes a lot of restraint to do that. What he does in that movie, like to
Sure.
really just sort of trust it and just like let the camera do it, and he's not doing anything because he's
Sure.
not doing much. But it just wasn't. I didn't get a sense of who the guy was. I didn't
Sure.
get a sense of what made him special. And I also hate it when people play academics very cool and very hip and very like nonchalant, because academics aren't like that. Like intellects are fucking. They're not cool. Like they're always fucking like they're socially retarded. Like and they're like they don't, and they're weird. And they have eccentricities, and his was and so when Gus said it, I was like, "You're right." Like, it was a very anglicized, very like straight, like white. This guy was a Jewish scientist who invented the atomic bomb. Like, there could have been a little bit more. And I don't know how the guy was really like. I've seen some interviews with him. He doesn't seem to be like a complete like robot. But
No, I'm with
just
you.
didn't think-
I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
But he is a top contender for it, which I think is a little. Like I said, I thought he was fine.
I mean, okay, so yeah, so we're on the same page about him. Okay, so we were talking about Gus. Let's talk about Rustin. So Rustin,
Which I thought was better than I thought it was good. I actually thought Rustin was. See, the problem for me with so many of the movies this year was the scripts. I thought the scripts were not good for a lot of these movies. Like, because the direction, George C. Wolfe's direction, I thought was actually pretty good,
Sure.
pretty interesting.
Sure.
I thought.
But I'll tell you the single thing that destroyed Rustin for me.
What?
Chris Rock. I don't get it. What is going on? It literally, and maybe it's because I have such a preconceived
I heard he was
notion.
a little bit of a dick too.
In what sense? What does he ever?
I just heard he was a little apathetic towards the whole thing. Or he's a
Well,
little,
that's what it feels like. It feels like his wig wasn't even properly glued down. Like it literally, like his entire performance. I just was so confused.
Bitch, fix your wig, bitch. Fix your wig.
So the whole I was thrown by that. But listen, I just want to say, I'm a huge Coleman Domingo fan. I think Coleman Domingo is one of the more exciting artists in the industry today because he is doing such interesting things as a creator, as an actor, as a writer. He's really Coleman Domingo is spanning so many different mediums. He's putting himself in so many unique, challenging. I mean, he was actually very good in The Color Purple, by the way. He played Mr.
Sure, he was.
And I thought he was good as Rustin. What's his name? Bernard. What's his name?
Bayard.
Baynard.
I think it's Bayard.
Baynard.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I thought he was good. Truly, I thought because he's always really talented. But again, it just, I have to say, for me, wasn't quite as magnetic or alive as Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers or Bradley Cooper, even in Maestro. For me personally,
that's interesting. Well, this is interesting. It's so funny because we're gonna release it's ballsy that we're releasing this. We're brave. Well,
are we?
The reason
what
why,
do you mean?
let's talk
Just our opinions.
Because we're kind of, I don't know. Anyway, but the thing about Coleman and why Coleman, it's weird that Coleman hasn't won anything, but he is really trying. You can tell him on socials, he's really trying hard. You can tell there's a lot of these and I'm not saying I think I thought he was actually really great in the movie.
Yeah, it was good.
I thought the part didn't have a ton I think it's the script, to be honest with you. For what he didn't get a nice thing. He didn't get a nice, I think it was the writing. I actually thought he was really, 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 really good. I thought he was really good, and I thought.
But you think, but how about what do you think about him in comparison to Paul Giamatti?
Let's talk about what's a better comparison. I think is Bradley Cooper's Leonard Bernstein's because those are both. I mean, they're both biopics, and they're both a guy playing another guy. It was funny, it's funny that you really. Why did you like Bradley Cooper's performance better than Coleman Domingo's performance?
Well, okay, a couple of things. First of all, we should shout out for a couple of reasons. Nick Blameyer, who was on the podcast a couple months ago, because he had a small feature in Maestro as Adolph Green, but here's actually why I'm obsessed with Nick, and I thought he was great. But let me just say something about what I love that he just did a couple days ago. Nick and the girl who played Betty Comden in that moment with him in Maestro, they did an evening with Betty and Adolph at the Cafe Carlisle, the other day, and I just love it. I just love that Nick just creates and what I would have loved that. I mean, that's like I'm the audience for that shit. And why do I say that as a way to talk about Bradley Cooper and Maestros? Because I was we heard a little bit about sort of the making of the project, and I think I'm just impressed with Bradley Cooper's theatricality in it, his humor, his sex appeal, his vision, his it's a hard story to bring to a wide audience in some ways, and I guess I just felt like it was done really well. So I was impressed.
It's wildly impressive that he directed and was in that movie.
Right.
Wildly impressive.
Right. And that's why I guess for me why
but the performance was interesting because at first it felt a little like at the beginning, I guess it took me a minute to sort of drop into the style because it was so like yeah, see, it's sort of like this. It's sort of like, that sort of like transatlantic sort of thing. You know what I mean? And I was kind of like, it felt a little not put on, because actually, no, his performance was really, really excellent in a lot of ways. I mean, the difference is in the size, which is funny because he was actually Bradley Cooper was very understated through a lot of it. He didn't really give himself, which I kind of appreciated. I thought the movie was fine. I thought the direction was incredible. But again, the script, there's just like, it wasn't like the script just wasn't so many of these things. Like even Barbie, I thought Greta Gerwig should have absolutely gotten a Best Director nomination. 1,000%.
I agree.
But the script of Barbie is not great, in my opinion.
Sure.
There's too many things it's trying to do. But that's a conversation for later. Bradley Cooper, what I really loved about Bradley Cooper's performance, actually, now that you say it, because at first I watched, I was like, yeah, this is really good. But like when I think about it, is that it's so hard with the part like that not to like want to like give yourself those big moments. Like even like the argument scenes with him and Carey Mulligan are super like, they're very realistic.
Right.
They're very realistic, and they're not like blow ups. They're not like big crazy. It's just like, but they are what they are. And
I guess it's part of what I gauge too is was something quote unquote successful for me is what I watched again. I would watch that movie again. I wouldn't watch Oppenheimer again.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? By that I simply mean I'm like, oh, and for me it's kind of speaks to like partial nuance. I'm like, oh, I want to go see it again to watch again because there's actually is quite a fair amount of detail and I'm intrigued.
A lot of detail in his performance. It's like at first, and I think like the first impression of it was, my first impression was kind of like, oh, and it took me a minute to like drop into it.
I know what you mean.
But I thought he was really good in it. And I guess the difference between him but it's also the style of the movie, right? Like Rustin was so like fast paced, and it was so like, it was just, the whole thing was like an adrenaline rush, which I thought was really cool. The whole thing was like really fast paced. It was very like, and I think that Coleman really tapped into that energy, and I thought he did. I don't know who could have done a better job than him. Let me say that. I don't know who could have done a better job than Coleman Domingo at that part. I thought he was.
I agree with that.
I was great.
You know what? What's a good point that you just made there about Coleman Domingo's performance in this? I actually do think that I can't picture anybody else doing it. And he really did make it his own in a lot of ways. But this sort of takes us to, again, probably part of what was one of my favorite performances with Paul Giamatti. And I was texting with Brian Suto last night about Paul Giamatti because I was like, is Paul Giamatti like our child? Like if Brian Suto and I had a baby, it would be Paul Giamatti. And also, I'm so glad I was texting with him because the whole time I was like, when did he get that eye? I didn't realize the eye was like a prosthetic thing.
Thing.
But the thing about and we were talking about, I know, and Paul Giamatti, the reason why he's kind of like a hero to me, quote unquote, is because he's sort of an outlier, isn't he? Meaning you're not really.
Yeah.
He's such an unlikely movie star. And someone who's actually quite brash and maybe not even the most dynamic actor. Let me tell you what I mean by when I say that. He's always sort of giving a similar performance. However, part of why for me that's his magic is he's always working from himself. And he works from himself in a way that he brings himself
That's
to
true.
the work, so that even though it's not that this was all that different from John Adams per se in some weird way, because he's so distinct, but he sort of lives in the truth of it and leans in and he's so interesting in both in his curtness, like heartfelt and pained, and you're rooting for him, and he's funny. I mean, this is so small, but there's a small moment in Holdovers when he's at the bowling alley and he's at the bar with those two guys, and it's a small thing.
Yeah.
But he's going on, he's giving his like intellectual, like, whatever the hell he was saying. And these two got dudes, white guys who drinking beers, who don't know this, anything academic.
Because Paul Giamatti is Haitian. No.
What? I was like, oh my God, what?
The way that you specified that there were two white guys. Paul Giamatti.
Well, I just meant like white trash. I meant like white trash. They're like these two white trash Trumpers, and they're sitting at the bar, and they liked Trump even in the 70s back then. They were pushing for Trump for president even then. Those two guys at the bar, and Giamatti does this whole intellectual spiel, and then there's just sort of like a cut to them, and it's just so funny to me. Like he's so great, and so sorry I'm babbling on about Paul Giamatti, but it's because it probably was my favorite performance, and probably my pick to win the Oscar.
I think it's between him and probably Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Well, what I liked about the Holdovers and his performance in general, and what I think you're right about, is that but he's not, when you say he's not playing the moment, it feels very it's like, oh, this is the scene where I blow up, or this is the scene where I have this thing happen, or this is the scene where, and as an actor, when you put on your director's hat, you're like, oh, I got to reach this point in the scene, or I got to make sure that this is conveyed. The reason why he is so interesting is he's able to be very unconventional in his choices a lot of times. They don't, like you said, it's not like dynamic, brash, he's just unorthodox and does different things based off of not pushing I appreciate he's not trying to push the relationship with the kid. Sure. That's what I liked about the whole movie, because it was still very touching and effective, and it still built to something, but it didn't sort of fall into conventions of oh, we really have to make sure that the relationship is very clear between these two, and that it's very and get those very strong moments. It just sort of trusts that it will be told in the moment to moment, and that's why he's so interesting. It does feel very moment to moment. It doesn't feel like he's going in there with preconceived notions about the part.
Also, a shout out to Carrie Preston in that movie, who plays.
She's great.
She's oh, you do?
Yeah, I know her. Yeah, I work with her in Alabama.
She has this new TV show, Elsbeth.
She's phenomenal. She's the sweetest lady too.
She's just really, because she was in Claws, yes, with the other school, Jen Lyon. Right, Jen from our school. She plays the Blondie. Yes. And oh my God, one of my favorite actors, Niecy Nash. I love Niecy Nash. But anyway, that's a interesting cast, and Carrie Preston is just, I thought she was especially good in it. So okay, so I'm gonna put my money on Paul, and maybe Cillian Killian.
But the Cillian thing, it's the reason why that's a bummer.
I know.
It's just because it's what did he sure. But and look, I'm not saying doing what he did is not incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Technical, it was a very technically for what it was and for what Christopher Nolan wanted to say. Whatever. But I loved Paul Giamatti. So best actress, we have Annette Bening in Nyad. We have Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon. We have Sandra Huller in Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan in Maestro, Emma Stone in Poor Things. So this is very interesting.
Yeah.
Before saying who we think is going to win, who do you think should get it?
Who do I think should get it? I think that Emma Stone should get it.
You didn't see the movie though.
I know. But here's why. When I look at, and yeah, full disclosure, I did not see Anatomy of a Fall. I'll get in $20. Or Poor Things.
Oh, it was $6. I saw it last night. We'll talk about
Oh,
it.
really? Oh,
$6.
yes. It actually. So I. But let me just say something about Annette Bening's performance for a second.
Well, I didn't see this, so you got to talk about this.
So I'm an Annette Bening fan, but I haven't seen Annette Bening in a long time. Meaning, like I can't remember the last time.
Yeah.
You don't see her a ton. This was a hard part, in a fairly basic movie. A very again, you're pointing out this.
What made
just
the
was
part hard? Well, by the way, Naiad's about the woman Diane Naiad who swam from Cuba to Miami, right? That's what she did.
Right. Well, the bulk of the movie is Annette Bening, swimming 100 miles and getting bit by a stingray and coming out of the water like this. So like the whole movie is like no, literally. But that's kind of what's part of it. Like I'm telling you, every other scene she's like. Her lips are all blown up and she's like got white shit on her face and she's like bleeding because she's playing this woman who's trying to swim from Cuba to Florida. And I mean, and this is a true story. So she's like, but without a cage, she's like swimming like in the ocean. And this is a true story. So Annette Bening's like, and she's playing like this very like tough lesbian who's very full of herself and a little clueless. So she like walks to the room and she's like, "Hey, what's up? I'm an amazing swimmer and I like puss." And like she's just kind of like very like aggressive. And then so I just want to say that Annette Bening is like really, I think, giving a very dynamic and unique performance for her in a very basic movie. And that's where like it's just it doesn't really hit for me. As opposed to Lily Gladstone, who that's the queen of subtlety, but maybe like she and Robert De Niro need to take a little page from our friend Mark Ruffalo or Giamatti and be
Leo.
like,
I mean, there's the thing. Here's why Leo to me is always because Leo is always.
He's so good.
Why Leo is so fucking good?
He's so good.
He is always going to do something different. He's always going to be dynamic. He's always going to make big, bold choices. Like, he is the leading man. He is the leading man of Hollywood. He is, and why it's so deserved is because he could be like a fucking Cillian Murphy. He could be like, but he's always, and even like Christian Bale, who I really like. But like even Christian Bale, it always feels a little safe and a little polished, in my opinion. Whereas Leo feels
interesting.
Leo is always vulnerable, and he's always like you could tell his whole heart is in everything he does. And he's always putting himself out there, and he's like always making big, bold choices. Whereas like Christian Bale is always doing he's transforming, but it's very technical and it's very he's obviously a phenomenal actor, but like I just think Leo is dynamic, messy.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, so let's talk. Well, I do want to see Annette Bening now in that because
it's good.
It's really, really good.
She's giving a really good, unique performance.
She's been gone for a minute, so this is great. But so weird because remember when Renee Zellweger won for that Judy movie, and it's like
I loved that.
Renee Zellweger was. Did you see that?
I loved it. Well,
was she exceptional in it?
Mike, she was really good.
Renee Zellweger's a great actor.
She was
so
really
weird
good
because Renee Zellweger was gone.
Yeah.
She wins an Oscar.
Yeah.
But then she's like gone again. It's like it's so weird that just how that worked and so it's so weird that Annette Bening has been gone.
I remember she came to see you Ain't Too Proud with in LA. She came to see Ain't Too Proud a few times. She loved Ain't Too Proud. With her husband.
Zellweger?
Yeah. No, Annette Bening. With Warren Beatty, is that her husband?
Oh, that is her husband. Yes.
No, she was okay. So Annette Bening is giving a good performance. Okay, Lily Gladstone.
Lily Gladstone,
Oh
who's
my
winning.
God,
She
I
won
don't know.
she won the Screen Actors Guild. She also won.
It's good, but it's
She didn't
it's
win
not.
the BAFTA. She won that. Now, what's interesting is I think it's a toss up between her and Emma Stone. Lily Gladstone, for the Golden Globes, they have the two categories. They have comedy and drama. So Lily Gladstone won for drama and Emma Stone won for comedy. Yeah, what were you going to say about Lily Gladstone's performance?
What I appreciated about it right from the get go, I loved how still it was. And she's such an interesting look, and I thought her and Leo like had a great, like, their story and their love story actually was very dynamic.
I didn't get it. I thought that was a script problem, but like the whole time I'm like, I didn't get. I really did not get it. Like, I'm like, why is she with this guy? Like that. I think it was scripted. Like, she's obviously this very capable woman, and he's like a
Fair.
a simpleton.
Fair, but he was
And
very
so I'm like-
charming.
Was he?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if like she
He didn't strike me as charming in that.
Oh,
movie.
interesting. I guess like charming in like a boyish, sweet way.
Well, what I thought what they missed about it was, frankly, was because the whole time that was my central question, and that I couldn't get out of the whole time. I'm like, why is she with this guy? Because he's killing her whole family. Is she? And like, she must kind of know that. Like, is she a complete like I could not suspend my disbelief that she didn't like. How would she not?
Well,
know that
didn't
he's
she
a
have
part
her?
of this?
I mean, listen. I just want to say top level that this movie was a little like
It was
just
not great.
and I know this is a random thing to say, but I
was a
love
script.
I love soundtracks, and I scores are very important to me, and I found the score to be very
What was wrong with the score?
just pedantic. It didn't feel like it just was it felt like it just didn't bring the like. Okay, I watched There'll Be Blood the other day. The score in There'll Be
Yes.
Blood is so fucking good. I mean, where like that's
Well, the score in Poor Things is fucking amazing.
this is what I'm saying. When you have and so for me, in this majestic movie, Killers of the Flower Moon, and by majestic I just mean scope of the story being told. I expected something more dynamic. You're gonna kill me. I'm gonna pee myself. I have to go. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, apologies. Okay, so
Okay, so wait. We didn't finish with this. Killers of the Flower Moon. The problem that I thought, the problem with Killers in the Flower Moon for me, the central problem was their relationship. Because, like I said, how does she not know that how does she? They just didn't. I couldn't suspend my disbelief. Like the problem, like what I thought was hard about that performance for me is also it's like she didn't. This woman must be an idiot. In reality, the real woman must have been an idiot. She must have been simple. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, how would you not know that your husband's point? Like,
because
how would you not know all of that? I just didn't buy it.
Well, this is where
And that might have been more of a script problem. That might have been more of a script problem.
Or director problem, because the way that you could suspend disbelief is if you believed that the relationship meant more. Like, she was put on blinders because she couldn't believe that this man, this simpleton, this sweet, loving man, would do this to her. So, and just to be clear, she had her suspicions. That was clear to me throughout the movie that she was suspicious.
She
No?
was, but yeah, but like I just didn't see that. Like, I don't know what it was. It might be. She did fine. She did fine. She was very good. Obviously, she's a really good actor. She had great moments. She gets the whole. She was able to show layers. I thought a few times. it was just hard. It was hard because that was the central problem of the movie for me, was their relation. So there's nothing to do with their performance, I guess. But then I guess you have to ask yourself as an actor, like, where your responsibility lies, because it's not her job to fix it. It's not her job to be like, but I didn't get why she was. So this has nothing to do with her, I guess. But I guess I'm associating her performance. Like, why did she like this guy? Like, I thought that they could have even leaned more. I could even bought it was a maternal thing, that like she wanted to take care of him. I could even buy that a bit. That it was like that was her, and it was a little too. I guess where I have some, where I could see her responsibility in this, her responsibility is that it was such a righteous and virtuous performance, but obviously there's something wrong with this, like with this woman a bit.
Yeah.
In the sense of, why is she attracted? Like, what were her vices? What were her weaknesses? What were her vulnerabilities? How is, because where she was either, I want to see the active, like there's no, I don't see her rejecting. I don't see her struggling with that. I don't see her like trying to put on the blinders and pretending it's not. And that might be, that probably, you're right, has more to do with the direction and the writing than her performance. But I didn't get the inner turmoil of the part.
Yeah,
and
no.
Honestly, the part's not great. I mean, that's really what it is too, is that the part was not a great part. It was very much like a stand-in, like sort of like not a very complex role. It wasn't a great part, well-written part, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
Because
I don't.
Interesting if I see like if she's like really obsessed with this guy, or like wants to take care of him, and I see her actively trying to, or if she does like hate her own people, if she has like some sort of inner white supremacist shit going on, whatever the fuck it is, like anything to sort of justify her just being like, yes, I am this very still, very subtle, empowered woman, but I can't see the obvious, like the obvious shit happening in front of me. Like, I just don't buy it. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
yeah, I do.
Buy it.
I do. Do you buy though that? Do you buy their relationship and that she doesn't see what he's doing to her? So okay, so what did you think of Anatomy of a Fallen? And what did you think of Sandra Huller?
Okay, so this, I was really excited to see this movie. And I mean, this is the same thing with what's that one passing? What's the
Past
fucking, what's
Lives?
I just don't get it. I don't get foreign movies. I don't get so many of them. Well,
Michael didn't like
Anatomy
this
of Fall was French. It was a French film. Let me say this. This won the main prize at Cannes. Just like Parasite did. So it's like there's that.
Parasite. Oh my god.
This movie just wasn't. I just didn't get it. I just don't. Let me say, okay, Sandra Huller's great. She's having a very. She deserves an Oscar nomination. I do believe that she deserves an Oscar nomination for a few reasons. Well, she was in The Zone of Interest too. She was the lead woman in Zone of Interest. She's phenomenal. And the reason why she deserves a nomination for this is because it's a slow burn. That's the thing, is like the press for it was like, take your breath away, dynamic from start to finish, and they try to market it as a thriller. It's not a thriller. There's not there. Yep. It's a very slow, very it's French, so it's very slow, very like a methodical courtroom movie.
Sure.
Basically. And that there's no big, there's not, it's very like you're watching and you're very stimulated, but it's not like an emotionally, when I think of a dynamic courtroom movie, I think about like A Few Good Men. That's like a dynamic, take your breath away, like fucking courtroom movie. This is very like realistic. It's cinema verite. She was exceptional because she gets her moments, right? She gets her moments where she is like, lets it all on the line. But she was really, a very disciplined performance, because she's not giving it to, that's not the woman. The woman's not sentimental. The woman's not like going to be like, she's a writer who's kind of cold, but not like a monster, but is kind of cold, a little cutthroat. And she just does, I can't describe it. It's a very well done performance in the sense of she was the woman, and she's not giving in to like sort of, I thought the movie was not great. In my opinion, I don't get a best picture for this. I really don't. I'm like shocked about that, but she was dynamic, interesting, and did the job. Did what the woman would do. And so I thought that was really, really cool.
Okay. So then
What?
Well, no,
Why are
I'm
you
saying
doing that?
well, because I'm going, okay, well, so it sounds like it's good. Sounds like Lily Gladstone's fine. Annette Bening's good. Carrie
Emma
Mulligan.
Stone. I would give this to
Well,
Emma Stone.
That's my money. My money's on Emma Stone, and I haven't even seen it. I haven't even seen Poor Things. But it sounds like it's a really bold, like Olivia Colman in The Queen or whatever the hell that movie
Yes.
was-esque type performance.
Favorite.
The favorite, yeah.
All she gets, I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a really, I mean, she is such a fucking good actor. Like, she's just like, she really is a great actor.
She is.
It was quirky. I mean, the part was also great. I mean, so much of this has to do with the parts too, right? Like, I'm sure, like, but the part was obviously a phenomenal part. It was, she carried that movie on her back, and she was dynamic. She was interesting. She had all the levels that you need. She did the thing, very dropped it. She was excellent. It was, and she carried the movie on her back. And I thought she was really, I do not know who else could have done that before. That's an example of, I don't know who could have done that performance and done something more interesting than her. She was very interesting. She was really out there. She put herself out there. I thought it was solid. That's who I would give it to.
Yeah.
I thought if you're talking about like the best dramatic performance, then I would probably, Sandra Huller was really exceptional. But yeah, I think Lily Gladstone's going to win. That's what I think.
What? That's who you think is going to win?
They're doing the campaign. She's got it all, I think. It's between her and Emma Stone, I think.
Okay. I mean, it's so funny we talk about that. I'm my guess is Emma Stone, but I hear you on the, yeah, because it's one giant campaign. We know that, but I hear you. Okay, let's talk director.
All right, so this is interesting. We have, oh, by the way, we didn't talk about this for best actor, Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, but that's because we didn't see it.
We didn't see it, but I fucking love Jeffrey
he's
Wright.
so good.
He is
Jeffrey Wright. He's so talented. Did you ever watch Westworld?
Yes, I did. I watched some of it. Yeah, I watched some of the episodes.
He's just so very good. He really is so talented. Wasn't he in Rustin too? Or am I making that up?
Yeah, he was Adam Clayton Powell.
Yeah,
he had
so
that brief little cameo.
He's
so
I'm
sure
good.
He is phenomenal in that movie.
Here's the thing I do. Well, no, I guess I was going to say this about Oppenheimer in terms of directing, but
yeah. Well, let's read what they are.
Okay, Justin Triet, Anatomy of a Fall. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah. Justine, excuse me. Martin Scorsese, Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos, and The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer. I really want to see The Zone of Interest.
It was okay. So I was really excited to see that too. You know what the premise of it, right? Is
it's a Holocaust film, right?
Well, basically, it's about the guy who ran Auschwitz. So the real guy who ran Auschwitz and like came up with the gas chambers and all that shit, and he lived at the camp. He lived at the camp, but there was a wall separating him from the camp proper, and he had like this nice, beautiful little suburban house. It was like a little paradise. But the whole point of the movie is like on the other side of the wall. You never actually go to see the camp. You can just kind of see the tops of the buildings.
Yeah.
The whole point is that's Auschwitz on the other side of the fucking wall.
Right. That's right. That's right.
I thought it was, look, okay, so let me say this because Zone of Interest and Past Lives kind of fall into this category for me.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Because they're both like European, like these are like the European artsy movies, is Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall. They were
Oh, sorry, you said
like-
Past Lives.
oh, not Past Lives. Sorry. Well, I'm sure Past Lives fall in that category too. But like, Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall. They were the two European movies. I just don't like. That's just not my cup of tea. It was just they're very slow.
Oh yeah, that
And
was.
it might
Past
be the
Lives. Oh, my
scripts, but they're
God.
just very slow, very methodical, very like, it's creating a sense of unease,
Right.
but not
Right.
really.
right.
It doesn't suck you into the movie. You're kind of removed the whole time. Like I was never sucked into either one of these movies. Let me
Right.
just say that.
Okay.
And I think that that's the style of how they make movies in fucking Europe or whatever. It's just not. It's not me. I like shit that kind of is a little more shit that can bring you in. Shit that's a little bit more sentimental than these movies were. So while the direction was like very, it was serviceable for what it was. I wouldn't say these movies were like revelatory or like special movies. Like I would not say that. So I don't get these nominations, but whatever.
So
it's for me. It's Scorsese.
what do you mean?
No, I'm saying the people who I think are
Competitive.
Scorsese,
Yeah, I'm gonna guess
Nolan,
Yorgos.
But Bradley Cooper should have got nominated.
I don't disagree with that. Well, and Greta Gerwig.
And Greta Gerwig should have got nominated. And honestly, I would have given George C. Wolfe a nomination. I thought the movie. I thought it was well directed. I thought it was well paced.
Sure.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
I don't get why Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall are here. I don't get it. Besides, they feel like the pretentious sort of like we have to give sort of the art house vote.
I bet you it goes to Christopher Nolan.
Yorgos should get it. Yorgos, I thought 100%.
Yeah, but
that was the best
think
direction.
about the Barbieheimer or whatever the whole that Marmar. The reason I'm saying this is because Oppenheimer got swept up in the marketing,
Right.
and I would just not be surprised. I would not be surprised if I think it's going to go to Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer.
Well,
I really
what's
do.
funny? I want to get your thoughts about this. How do you know if a movie's well directed? This is where I get a little because I actually thought Killers of the Flower Moon was well directed. I just thought the story and the script sucked.
Okay.
Is that his job? What do you think?
Yes, I do.
What are your thoughts about
So
you're a proper director.
Well, yeah. So I'm literally right now heading into the third week of this production of Virginia Woolf, and that I'm directing. And the thing about it is, here's why I think the performances, score, all of this relates. I personally always say I can have a point of view and some sort of vision for something, but I always really consider it my job to take everybody else's good ideas and to bring them together and to find a through line. I say that in relation to Killers of the Flower Moon, because whether it's the score, whether it's the performances, whether it's the fucking production design, I don't care. It is Martin Scorsese's job, it is the director's job to make sure that all of these pieces work in tandem to meet the demands of the project. And if
Cohesion is very big as well.
cohesion, and if pieces feel out of balance. So for example, it's so small, but in The Holdovers, the reason why I get caught there is it's really good, but actually some of the students, some of the acting, some of those scenes, they felt a bit basic in a way that felt like they weren't cared for directorially. And so the movie, while it's so great, sort of rests on Divine and Paul Giamatti and the other kid's shoulders in some ways, and then it almost throws away some other elements. And so I think that's a great word. There isn't a shit ton of cohesion for me. And so Killers of the Flower Moon, yeah, Brendan Fraser's good. Leo's really good. It's an interesting concept. But even I have to say that scene when they were in the jail cells, this is small, but from a design standpoint, I didn't buy that those were the jail cells. Like it felt like they were like in like a
it all
really
of a sudden
sleek
felt a little surreal. And it
Yes.
felt like because it was like those two cages, like in the
Yes.
dark, like
Next to each
I-
other.
what I hear you saying is, because I never really thought about it, is like a cohesion of, because like that's the thing. Poor Things. The reason why I thought, because like let's take Poor Things, Barbie, which I thought were probably the most stylized movies out of the two, because those automatically I'm like, oh, because they're so stylized. Like I don't, I'm like, oh, the direction. I thought the reason why Poor Things I think is really good is because it's a whole world. He creates a whole fucking a new. It's like Tim Burton meets like Wes Anderson. It's a very specific world, and the performances are perfect. I think Chris Abbott's a little out of place in that movie, but I think the performances in the movie are perfect for the movie. The design is perfect for the movie. The script is perfect for the movie. So yes, I would give it to Yorgos. The reason why Barbie, I thought Greta Gerwig's direction was good, but per your point, there was a lot of things about that movie that didn't sync up together.
Exactly.
Which I blame the script. But is it the director's job to go like?
I just want to say that I think part of what she was also working against, just so we know, just to be clear, Martin Scorsese is going to do whatever the fuck he wants. Martin Scorsese had an incredible cast. I mean, the features in Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, this cast was stacked from top to bottom, just to say, really, with some really dynamic actors. And of course, because it's Martin Scorsese. Greta Gerwig was not only dealing with, all of her other creators, inclusive of Margot Robbie, who really deserves a ton of credit for even the creation of the project. But she's
100%.
dealing with, oh come on, the manufacturer, Barbie manufacturer, Mattel. Just to be clear,
Warner Brothers.
There on a film like that, there are so many cooks in the kitchen. That there are so many elements where I do think Greta Gerwig did an incredible job, was somehow still having a unique creative vision while maintaining the values of what everybody else was likely telling her the movie needed to be.
The only problem is, sorry, please.
No. That's why I give her a shit ton of credit, because I know how difficult that is.
Well, where I lose it is, because look, maybe I take this back now, because what I'll say about Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall is those feel like very cohesive movies. Sure. I may not like the style of the movie or the script of the movie, but it feels like everybody's telling the same story. In both of those movies, 1,000,000,000%.
Yeah.
Which probably is the sign of, for your point, that's probably a good director. The problem with Barbie, while the design elements I think are incredible, and look, the script problems are the script problems in my opinion. It's like, okay, because it was so forward-footed with the messaging, the problem, like, you can be telling a story about a movie with multiple themes, but because like they explicitly are always saying what the themes are, it's like, okay, is this about being a human? Is this about being a woman? Is this about capitalism? Is this about like, what are you trying to? It's too, and because everybody's talking about it so much, like it's too much.
Yeah,
like it's too much. Like pick one fucking thing to really make your story about. It's about being a. But where Greta now falls off a bit for me, if I'm honest with you now, is the real world stuff, the Will Ferrell stuff. Like it didn't make sense. I didn't get what the relationship between the real world and like the Barbie world was. It all felt like the same thing. I do think that was a directorial problem, mainly because it was all the same style. It was all the same like style of acting. Even like Will Ferrell as that guy probably did not make a ton of sense. Like it's like, if you're gonna tell the story of, that is a directorial problem. Like if you're gonna tell the story of like, this is the hard real world and this is like Mattel headquarters, can't also feel like a Wes Anderson movie or some shit. It should feel a little bit more. So that was a major problem for me in that movie was.
But I just want to say the reason why I think Oppenheimer and Christopher Nolan is going to win is that is a massive story.
It's
to
very well
tell.
directed.
And I again, I have not seen Poor Things specifically, so I don't, and I can't speak to the scope of it, but it felt like Oppenheimer, and it actually felt like Oppenheimer was handled with more care, in my opinion, than even Killers of the Flower Moon was. It felt like,
I completely agree with that.
and so my money's on Chris Nolan.
I think it's between Chris Nolan and Yorgos. I just want to see who won the BAFTA. Really quick. The BAFTA was Chris Nolan for the BAFTA. And he won the Golden Globe. So, I do think that, I think that's deserved. I mean, I thought it was a very well-directed movie. I thought it was a very well-directed movie.
Yeah.
And even Cillian Murphy's performance, which I don't think deserved a nomination, like, for the way he was telling the story, like, that is how you probably should be in that movie.
I agree. Let's jump to Best Picture as opposed to writing, because we're sort of talking about all of it and it can't help but come up. So let's do this final one with Best Picture.
American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall,
Right.
Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of a Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest.
And Maestro. You missed Maestro.
And Maestro, which I do think, let me just say, Bradley Cooper, I think, probably did deserve a nomination 100% for Best Director. I agree. I thought it was a very well-directed movie. Anyway, so, okay.
I want to talk about one.
I
want to talk about one big outlier here for me in this list.
What?
And that is Past Lives. So you know,
I haven't seen it. You saw it.
And for me personally, it's all subjective, but so slow. I mean, I could barely. Michael and I both we could not get into it. And you know,
what's it about?
It is about this girl who is from. Oh gosh, hold on, let me make sure I say this right. I don't want to. I just want to say the hold on. I want to say the country right. So excuse me. Hold on. Hold on. I see it. I'm saying, la 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 la. Where are they from? Where? South Korea. Okay. So it's about these two young people from South Korea who meet when they're kids, and they sort of like are like kid boyfriend and girlfriend. And then she moves to the United States with her family. And so they break up. And they living their respective lives. And then she, of course, starts dating this other guy. And she reconnects with him on Facebook. He finds her on Facebook. And basically it's the story of you know, your first love, so to speak, and what happens when you're confronted with that in the midst of, you know, your new life that you're living. And the woman who made it, wrote and directed it, Celine, I think is her name, Song. It's her very first movie. Very first.
Crazy.
It is crazy. And listen, I understand.
No other nominations. From what
no other
maybe
nominations.
Script,
maybe script.
Maybe script somewhere.
Maybe writing. Hold on, original. Yeah, she got a nomination for original screenplay. Yeah. But May December was really good. So she got a nomination for original screenplay, and I understand in a general sense why people connect with the simplicity of the film. It was just there's someone who was like, it's my favorite movie I've ever seen ever, and I'm like, what? It just didn't
Harry
hit.
Met, you know, it's just a style. It's a taste thing. Because let me tell you, I could watch When Harry Met Sally. I love that movie. Now that's a movie about just two people's relationship.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's like but I love that fucking movie. I love that movie. I could watch that movie anytime, any day, it's a
I agree, but let me be clear. That's a very different film
well,
than
yes, and it sounds like stylistic. Well, that's a rom-com. It's like
Yeah.
it has a strong point of view.
Sure.
It has a strong point of view. And you know, the problem with a lot of these, because I'm assuming this is kind of like an indie-esque, like very, like, because Anatomy of a Fall, Zone of Interest, and this movie are all kind of in the same, like, these are
Sure.
like the indie sort of
Sure.
movies.
Yes.
The reason why I don't like these movies, a lot of times I haven't seen Past Lives, because they don't have a point of view. There's this thing where it's like,
Interesting. I
you
know what
it's
you mean
very
by that.
big in the independent film world, and like to do like it's just the camera capturing it. It's like a verite type thing, and it's like, well, but I don't care about. I'll watch a documentary. It's like I'm here because of a story, and it sounds like maybe this is kind of what this movie was. Did it have a strong point of view? You know,
That's the thing. That's the thing. What I appreciate, what you're right about, is it's just sort of like, and then this happened.
right?
And
I don't like movies like that.
No, I'm with you. I really am with you, and I think it actually that I think what you're saying is where I think you're right with this film in particular is you know, there was this really interesting moment in the very Michael really liked this too. The very beginning of the movie had a really interesting device where it starts where the three of them, the girl, her current boyfriend, and her ex-boyfriend, are sitting at a bar, and it's at night, and it's like a very slow, long shot that's sort of pushing in on the three of them, and there's people talking about, like, it's through the perspective of other people watching them at a restaurant, and they're trying to guess what the relationship is. It's the very top of the movie, and they're like, I think it's her sister, I think it's her brother, who the hell knows. It was a really
that's cool.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's sort of interesting. You're sort of like, oh, this is interesting, but there wasn't really any, and that has, in some ways, that kind of has a point of view. There really wasn't any of that ever again, in my opinion. From, you know, and I found it to be quite dull. I'm very happy for her, but, you know, great, amazing that your first movie pop off, but overall I don't quite get the
Well, I'm just not
buzz.
into these sort of I'm not into these sort of like, let's just capture what it is, and
Yeah.
and you're right, and this happened, and then this happened,
Right.
and then this happened,
Right.
and it's
Right.
just all very, very, you know, it's just not why I take in art. Whereas even something like, look, like I haven't seen American Fiction yet, so of course Anatomy of a Fall has the issue that I said it was. I don't get how this got nominated. Barbie, like,
There's
look,
no way it's going to
Barbie-
win. There's no good way it's going to win if it didn't get even
There's a
the
lot
best
of
director.
flaws. There's a lot of flaws in the movie. There's a lot of flaws in the movie, but at least it's like a swing. At least it's a swing. At least it's like, you know, it's somebody's trying to say something. And I thought the design of this movie was excellent. Let me just say one thing about the end of Barbie. The ending, like with the whole human thing, like that was really ballsy. Like Greta Gerwig, there was choices made that I
Yes,
thought
and
were
a point of view.
ballsy and point of view. And it's like even the comedy in that movie,
Yeah.
that movie did have a lot going for it. It
Yeah.
wasn't. I don't think it entirely worked, but it did have a lot going for it.
I agree.
thought.
I agree. I mean, look, yeah. So Holdovers, we said we love. Killers of the Flower
I
Moon.
would. That was probably one of my favorites. I thought the
The
Holdovers.
Holdovers. Mine too. No, just to be clear, it was my favorite. But I want to say,
Poor Things for me.
no. See, I think it's going to be Oppenheimer, and look, it's really not
No, I'm
fair
saying
for me
my
to say.
favorites. I agree with you. I think my favorites. I thought my two favorite movies were. Although I really did listen. I say all this about Oppenheimer. I really loved Oppenheimer. Actually, I thought it was.
And I just want to say,
really good.
I don't know how, like, as good as The Holdovers is, and it's very much more my kind of movie than even Oppenheimer. The artistry behind Oppenheimer, like what it takes to make a movie like that and to keep
Absolutely.
it dynamic and interesting, and to sort of the way they framed it, that's hard work. And I really
Absolutely.
do. I would be very surprised if honestly almost anything other than Oppenheimer wins. Maybe
I
Poor
think you're
Things,
right.
but I think it's going to be Oppenheimer. That's my money.
I think it's between, if you really had I think the top 3 contenders are Oppenheimer, The Holdovers, and Poor Things. The reason why I could see The Holdovers is because it is sort of that, like, it does feel smaller. It does feel like, I could see it being kind of like that underdog thing. I mean, and Oppenheimer and Poor Things are just, I think, really well-made movies. They're big movies. I did really like Oppenheimer. I really did like Oppenheimer
I did too.
a lot. And there was a ton of artistry, you're right, in the movie. And, even though we're talking shit about like Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr., like they did the jobs they needed to do for the movie. It's like they did what jobs they needed to be done. I thought the direction was just enough, stylistically it was interesting, like the framing of it all, like the flashbacks and the trial, and it was dynamic. It was a dynamic, well-structured movie, I thought.
I agree.
And Poor Things for me was just, I think it was, like I said, I thought it was a very dynamic, interesting, cohesive movie. I don't think it's going to win probably, but yeah.
So let's have our comfort food performances be based around these films. We got it. Sure. We have to pick. I mean, I think we're going to be on the same page here.
Yeah, I honestly say it's a toss up for me. When I think about like performances, like in this, I'm gonna say like iconic performances that you go back and reference, like in a canon, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's sort of what I'm thinking about. Like,
Sure, I know what you mean.
I do think Paul Giamatti is definitely one. If I had to pick 3, it would be Paul Giamatti. It would be I do think. I don't. Well, I guess I would have to go with Paul Giamatti. I don't know. Although, let me say this: Ryan Gosling's performance, that is a performance that people will be referencing for a very long time. Like,
I think he was already one of my comfort food performances. I think I already said that actually.
Yeah, like that is a performance people like the Joker, like Heath Ledger's The Joker. Like that is a movie. That is a comedic performance that I feel like people will be referencing for a very long time.
Sure. Yeah, no. I hear that. Yeah, I mean, for me, my comfort food performance in this situation is also Paul Giamatti. I think it's my favorite out of all of them. And one again, kind of like to your point that I would watch that movie again. I would absolutely watch that movie again.
Oh, absolutely.
Want to see what.
But
he does.
It's funny. Like it's just I miss. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I was watching there's this interesting YouTube video just about like why movies all feel so different now. It's like just movies are so different from the night. Because I think about, because you've ever seen Scent of a Woman?
I don't know.
Oh, it's so good. Well, Scent of a Woman is very similar to The Holdovers. It's a boarding school movie, but it's a very different relationship. But it's Al Pacino won the Oscar for it.
I want to watch this. Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
I would watch. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts about this versus The Holdovers, because they're in the same family of movie in terms of like what they're dealing with, but very different movies. One is the 90s. There's a lot of romanticism. There's a lot of, it's more rich. Like none of these movies are like, what is gone from movies for me now is so funny. It's like the richness. Like there's just like the ripeness and like the full breadthness of movies. It's just like not as much there anymore for me. Like
interesting. I guess I don't have a exact reference point for that, but I hear. I mean, if that's your experience, I lift it up. I honor it. I honor you with your pussy.
I want to baptize what you just said.
Oh, I baptize you. Okay, so those are our predictions. We're gonna be right. We're gonna be always right. But we're curious to hear your thoughts, and feel free, of course, to disagree with us. Like and subscribe as always. And again, for more creative risk content, plus a bunch of discounts, including our cool merch. And if you wanted to work with us, or if you wanted just to be part of our world, our community, you can visit patreon.com/creative risk podcast. You can also find it at the link in our bio, of course. Till next time, friends, which will be very soon. Promise we'll be seeing you soon. Yeah?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.